Hey everybody, Jack Grella coming to you semi-live to give you a quick walkthrough of NetworkGraph. Just before we get started, creating your own network graph is going to drive you to find a huge amount of business through your own established professional network. The goal of our application is to visualize, organize, and analyze your current relationships. We can then figure out what is the actual value of your relationships and find exactly who you should be cultivating within your network and why. The place we're going to start today is the contacts page. You can enter in the information of your connections one by one, and we can bulk enter information through your CRM. The three important fields we have here are name, profession, and source. You can search your contacts by profession and source. The source is the person who's responsible for bringing a contact into the system. You assign a contact's existence to a specific person. In order to assign a source to a contact, you have to make sure that source already exists within your system. For example, let's go ahead and add David Hazard, a new connection to the system. David Hazard is a CEO, and David's source is me, Jack Grella. So let's go ahead and check that Jack Grella is in the system. Great. If he's not, make sure to add him. Good job, we created our own contact. Just an FYI, we are signed in. If you look at the top right under Michael Engelhardt, that's ME. Currently, we only use profession and source attributes in the contacts page. In the future, we will be able to add any attribute that your CRM supports. A quick few notes before we move on. You can edit and delete contacts right here. Make sure you don't add a contact twice or your graph, which will be discussed in a couple minutes, will go blank. If you try to delete the contact and it says failed, that's because the contact is already being used in a relationship or that person is the source of somebody else. We will get to this scorecard icon a bit later, but let's move on. Once your contacts are in the system, we can start adding relationships. The power of this tool really lies in this tab. You can add notes with context to the value of a relationship. For example, what was the amount of business that was done, how much commission was generated, and any other context that will give you value to the introduction. Making a relationship is done by means of an introducer, a person one, and a person two. To add a relationship, let's search in the intro field. So Jack Grella introduced Michael Engelhardt to David Hazard. We'll go ahead and keep that date as today, and the amount of commission generated on that introduction was $50,000. Good job. You can see all your relationships by scrolling down on this page after you add that relationship. We also have a search field that will allow you to search any field in this tab. So let's go ahead and search Michael Engelhardt as the introducer. And once you add in enough relationships, things start to get interesting on your dashboard page. So let's go ahead and explore that third tab. In the default view of this page, you will be able to see your top 10 introducers. The way that this is determined is by reviewing every contact and seeing how many direct introductions were made. Also, our system looks at second level introductions. How many people have your new connections introduced to you? So that's how you rank these. The reason why this is important is because of people like Justin Burley, who only has one introduction made, but that person has introduced Michael to 7 other connections. Now that is valuable. Currently, we're only looking at the one metric of how many introductions were made. However, the value of a person isn't just about how many introductions made, but how valuable those introductions were. In the future, instead of tracking the amount of introductions made, we'll be able to pull in deal information. From here, you can order your top 10 introducers by how much commission made, how many successful deals went through, and total deal size, all metrics that are recorded in your basic CRM. One of our key points to NetworkGraph is the visual representation of your network. Example, your network graph, there's our name. This is operated based off of the contacts page, and you can see that there are people that are connected with one other person directly. This is pulling from the source section of your contacts page. For example, let's go ahead and look at Brad Bourne, directly a source of Michael Andrews through Jack Grella, flowing through to Michael Engelhardt. Dots are bigger, FYI, if they have more connections. If you want to go further and look at specific relationship views, then NetworkGraph, highlighted in red, you'll see, will show you contacts that Drew Urbanski has introduced to Michael Engelhardt. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the graph for Drew Urbanski. You can see the names by using this dial at the top of the graph to show you what the names are. And then you can also see where these people exist in the scheme of your entire network. So you can see how many introductions a specific person has made to Michael, vice versa, with any two contacts in this system. If you just want to see one person in isolation on your graph, you can look at that one person in person view. This visualized chart is now just going to show, for example, Bob Moss's direct connections. Haven't spoken with Bob in a while, and I know I had some notes on his clients. You can see his direct connections, his top introducers. You can see the names of those connections and zoom in. Now, for example, we can look at Michael Engelhardt's connections in person view, and that's going to be the center of the graph. So there are his top 10 introducers, and there's his entire graph. So we can clear this out, go back to the original network graph, and I have brought you through a full run-through of how our application currently works. A lot more attributes and capabilities will be added going forward. Would just like to highlight one last feature, which is back on this contacts page. It's a scorecard. This scorecard will give you the ability to rate every one of your contacts based off of 24 different attributes, so you can distinguish the strengths and weaknesses of everybody. If we look at, for example, Jack Grella, me, these are all of the different attributes that I can be rated on by myself and my teammates, 1 to 10. Going forward, teammates' ratings will also appear and ratings will be averaged. This way, you can see if you're an outlier on any rankings that you give. This is very useful if you're looking for a person who, for example, is a great connector or is assertive versus respectful. You'll be able to, at some point, search to filter which of your contacts are the best in a specific attribute. This serves as a key point when you're trying to decide who to bring into specific deals or who you need in certain situations. So that's our last current feature. A lot more will be added in going forward, but this is your general framework to NetworkGraph. We are giving you a global view of all relationships with the ability to drill down into specific branched relationships. From here, you will be able to add and view values of relationships, and as a result, know exactly who to cultivate in your network and why. Thank you, everybody, and give feedback as soon as you run through this.